Right then, now this is something I'd normally do the second I stop, but I've held off to get the camera set up just to film this bit. Now, I am actually at my special spot, but as you can see, the cloud cover's there. Now, I thought I might as well film this because at least there's something I filmed. Obviously not wearing the microphone, I'm just relying on the mic on the camera itself. It is starting to rain, which if the temperature drops at all, that could actually change to snow. So, top tip when hiking in the mountains, always carry a dry set of clothes with you, especially a t-shirt. I've just been hiking over 1,000 metres, I'll work it out later because I haven't got the map on me, and I'm actually very wet. Now I started off at the bottom with a lot of different layers, and as I've ascended I've taken the layers off, making sure that I have a dry layer. So top tip, no matter how cold it is when you do this, if it's snowing, it's a whiteout, it's blowing at -10, you're better off doing this and being cold for a few minutes and being warm instantly afterwards rather than shivering there in a soaking wet t-shirt. So top tip, strip your layers off. Take off your bottommost wet layer, and believe me, the back of this is soaking where my little rucksack's been. And Jesus, that's cold. Dry yourself at all of any sweat. And I don't know if you can see this, but that is drenched. Discard that. And then start getting out your dry layers. Starting with your dry bottom layer. In this case, my charity t-shirt. Now the second I've put that on, I feel instantly warmer. Now I wouldn't normally tuck this in, but I'm going to because quite frankly it's a bit chilly up here at the moment. Don't ever be bashful in the mountains. The last thing you want is to get hypothermia. It's unlikely on a day like today, but it is still possible. So that's that layer on. Now my hoodie, which will keep me very warm. And then eventually, even though it's got sweat in it, my top layer, my waterproof layer, I'll put on because there is a slight drizzle in the air, and it will stop my hoodie, which is dry and warm, from getting wet. Right, so that's my top tip. Be cold for a few moments and then feel nice and comfy. Now, because the terrain is so different to what it looks like in the winter, and because of the cloud cover that there is today, no matter how well I know this area, I actually overshot this spot and ended up going all the way up to the top of the peak of the Possettes. And it's only when I started descending the other side that I realised that I'd overshot it and had to actually check Google Maps on my phone, because I hadn't bought a map with me today. Well, I haven't bought a map of Chamonix with me because I'm going on a trip around Europe, and I didn't really want to carry a map. No matter how light it may seem, it's just extra weight I'm lugging around. I didn't want to have to bring a map for a route that I know so well, but it just shows you that even though I know the route so well, I still went straight past this special spot because I didn't recognise it, because I became disorientated in the cloud cover and the fog, because I cannot see any landmarks around me. And the terrain literally either side of this ridge, which is death, there's cliffs either side, just looks vastly different without the snow cover to what it does now. I will take some photos using the camera of what it looks like now, because I know I have on record a lot of photos of what it looks like in the winter, so I can post them online and you can see a comparison between summer and winter. Another thing I've discovered about this area, which I've never known, is that in amongst this whole area, there's wild blueberries. And they are quite scrummy. The whole of this ridge is completely covered with wild blueberries. Now I know this is one of the nature reserves in Chamonix, and you do get a couple of tourists pointing out the signs that say that you're not supposed to go there and ski in there because you might hurt the fauna and flora. But quite frankly, that's crap, because this is under a metre of snow, and you skiing on top of that metre of snow isn't going to make any difference to the plant life that's crushed underneath and the animals that are hibernating in the ground. In fact, quite regularly in these couloirs, and couloirs are the ridges that come down the mountains that have naturally been formed from avalanches, the couloirs 2 or 3 times or more every year naturally release the snow in vast avalanches with thousands of tons of snow hurtling down the mountainside, ripping the plant life away with it, including some trees that might be 2 foot thick. So I'm sure a skier or a snowboarder on top of that snowpack isn't going to make a blind bit of difference to the blueberries underneath. Well, I will leave it at that and sit it out for a little while and hope that the cloud cover actually lifts a little bit, so I can start doing some filming of my life, basically. And if that doesn't actually happen, what I might do is choose a place down in the valley, or possibly push it off until tomorrow and hope for a better day tomorrow. So let's give it a break for half an hour, and hopefully this cloud does lift, as I say, and we'll take it from there. Thank you. Right, so I've switched the camera back on just to give you a little update. It is actually started to snow now, and if this cloud cover doesn't lift and this snow gets any heavier, it will get colder and I will have to descend quite rapidly. There's a lot of tourists on this trail doing the Tour de Mont Blanc. That is a 120 kilometre pathway that goes around the whole of the Massif. They do it usually in sort of 9 to 11 days. Hello, Sheen. There's a couple of dogs and some tourists on the trail now. So I'll get the camera switched off, get it covered up. With a bit of luck, like I say, the cloud cover will lift and we'll get back to you. Right then, so before I actually descend, why the cloud actually lifted, I wanted to just briefly show you that there is some scenery down there underneath the cloud. The cloud base is actually lifted a few hundred metres, and you can now actually see the valley below. You're looking down at Montroc and over towards Argentière. I just thought I'd briefly share this with you. I was just about to pack the camera equipment away, and this is the route I'm taking down, pretty much straight down through all that lovely greenery. Now, unfortunately, I think this is about as good as it's going to get. Unfortunately, like I say, behind this cloud base is the top of Mont Blanc and the Aiguille du Midi and all the glaciers and such fantastic scenery. I'm sure if you just tap into Google Chamonix, you will be able to see lots and lots of pictures showing what you're missing now. If at any point while I'm in the valley this cloud lifts and shows you that, or shows me that, I will switch the camera back on quickly and take some pictures.